I was able to go back in there and see what I could salvage, I'm thinking it was, pretty much cleaned up, but I'd pick up something and see blood on it.
Well, first of all, Dax, tell me, what made you want to become a barber? How did that happen?
I started. Well, I have four brothers, right? So my mom used to cut our hair when we were little, and she just used to just get off what she could get off, because it's expensive for 5 boys to get a haircut. So her thing was, and that's back in the day when you wore chili bowl haircuts. So she just did the chili bowl, and the line wasn't even straight on the chili bowl. So one day she was at work, and I just grabbed clippers and cut my brother's hair, and that was my new, I guess, that was my thing to do in the house then. That was my chore, keep our haircuts. And it just made me start loving cutting hair. Then I grew up watching other guys cut hair in the neighborhood, and I saw how popular they were and how they seemed to have their stuff together. So that made me want to cut hair too. So I've always had a passion for doing it.
Were you expecting to make a career out of it?
Not initially. I figured eventually yes, because I saw that there could be some good money made cutting hair if you do it correctly. Not just jump in there and thinking I'm gonna make a lot of money, without putting work in. There's a certain way to get to the money is the money, but you have to work towards the money. It doesn't just come because, okay, I got some clippers and I got some nice clippers and a good logo. Now I can make some money. No, you have to have customer service. You have to care about people. Care about your clients. Take care of them. That's my motto is, it's right there. The best way, to attract new clients is to take care of the ones you have. So I think 80% of my business is built on word of mouth and people, talking about how I take care of them. So
when you finish with someone's hair and they get up, they look in the mirror, or you hand them that mirror, is there something you looking for at the end of that haircut out of that customer?
Looking for them to say or do?
The satisfaction, the
happiness. Yeah, you always want that.
What does that mean
You
to
know
you?
what I really want? I'm trying to get to a point to where I'd say I cut 25 heads or 30 heads in one day. 20 of them will tell me I don't need that mirror. I've been cutting hair so long that they don't even need the mirror anymore, because they know I'm gonna give you what you want. I know what you want. I've been doing it, probably the same cut for 7 to 10 to 15 years, so most of them don't even want the mirror unless they just wanna, look at themselves, but most of them I don't need that mirror. That's my goal, is to get to the point where I have consistent clients that come in, they don't have to tell me what they want anymore. I just start cutting and we just start talking.
Yeah. A lot of barbers end up at somebody else's shop. They renting chairs, which is different from being on your own like you are. Did you go through that too? Were you in?
Yeah, I was in the shop. I started in the shop for 5 years. Built my clients from there. Yeah. About 2 years in, I started doing appointments only, because I would have people waiting, and you don't want to wait so long before you're like, oh, you know what? I'll just go let somebody else. Then I started, getting appointments, getting everything in line, and just start flowing from there. So I've been doing appointments for about 15 years, appointment only. I don't do walk-ins at all.
Was it scary going out on your own?
Absolutely. But with anything else, how you gonna know if you don't do it? You have to step out on faith and do it.
Let's talk about Mario and his wife, who decided to step up and do the GoFundMe without even asking you.
Not even.
What's going through your mind?
Initially, being how I am and who I am, I wasn't with it, But talking to my wife and talking to my pastor, he's like, you don't block that blessing. That's a blessing. It's God's blessing. You don't block that. So that made it easier for me to accept it. It's not, because to me, it wasn't about, it didn't come from a place of, let's see how much money we can get it. These are people, mind you, I had never met. Mario worked in the building with me, but we had never formally met. We saw each other in passing, I didn't even know his name was Mario. I thought it was Doc. Because his window says Doc. His logo's Doc. You know, I never seen him cut a head or anything. So it touched me. I can't even explain how it made me feel because nobody's ever done anything like that for me.
Yeah. You're having to move locations, restart with new equipment. How are you doing inside with what happened?
My emotions go at any moment. I could be like, you know, I'm good, because those are my two favorite words to say. I'm good, you know. But sometimes I'm not. You know, I can't keep my eyes closed too long. If that makes sense, because I'm gonna see something I never thought I would see.
Tell me about your support system. Who's around you?
My wife.
I met your wife.
Oh yeah.
Tell me about her.
That's my wife. Yeah, that's my guardian. Yep. We're each other's protector. Yep. She's gonna be mad at me for saying this, but she told me she was when I called her, she was at work. She works from home, and she just jumped up and start putting clothes on and forgot to put bottoms on. And her son was like, "Mom, where are you going?" Yeah, so she had to go back and put some bottoms. That's how fast she was trying to get out of the house.
Yeah. I looked over the GoFundMe. There are people donating who have never gotten a haircut from you, haven't even met you. How does that make you feel?
I can't describe that because, like I said, I'm not used to being the person somebody does something for. Especially people that don't know me. Because to me, it's not. When I see this about it, in the world we live in today, where everybody's pitted against each other in some kind of way. You get people who genuinely, it shows they genuinely care about not basically me, but the situation, you know, because that could have been any barber in any chair. It just happened to be me, you know, just to care about the situation, because you don't have people, you know, they don't know anything about my life. They don't know how I live. They don't know what I drive. They don't know what kind of house I have, to have a mentality of, he's all right, you know, because some people look at that and that'll shy them away from what it's really about, which is someone who doesn't even know me decided to take into consideration something besides himself. Because they could have been like, hey, I'm just glad I wasn't there. I'm glad it wasn't me, you know, but this guy, you know, has gone through something that can't be wished on anybody, and survived. And you know, I can't even put it into words. I've been laying up since like 3 o'clock in the morning thinking of words to put it in. I can't because it's not like I have an example, because I don't have an example of it.
I know that in all the years that you've been barbering, you've gotten your favorite clippers and just equipment. You're having to start all over with that, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah. Because there were things that I thought I might be able to go salvage, per se. And when I went back in my suite days later, when I was able to go back in there and see what I could salvage, you know, I'm thinking it was, you know, it was pretty much cleaned up, but I'd pick up something and see blood on it and get freaked out, you know. So I'm like, I don't want none of it now, you know. I don't want to one day be over here trying to get over this whole thing and then pick up something I brought from the other place, and there's blood on it.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't nice.
Dax, you know, I see the scripture over your door. With God, all things are possible. Do you ever ask, okay, God, why did I go through this? Why am I going through this?
Yeah. Who wouldn't? I don't question it. I don't question because I know it was His will. I mean, but I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad at Him about it. You made sure I walked out of there. So I gotta be mad at that.
What do you want your clients to know, especially those who've been with you over the years? How important is it for them to stay with you, continue with you, just give you a pat on the back?
It's everything. It's everything. I have clients that I cut. I've been cutting clients since they followed me from barber school. I cut their hair in barber school, and when I left, they came with me. I have clients that were some of the first people that I ever cut. The first week I was in the shop, they still come to me.
That's dedication.